Well, hey everyone, Carrie Beck here with How to Homeschool My Child and Homeschool Coffee Break, where we try to help you stop the overwhelm in order to be able to take a coffee break. It can be overwhelming as a homeschooler, and we're talking about a subject that I think is really important. It is near and dear to my heart. This is the second of 4 series about money, finances, and business. Last week, it was a little bit longer than I normally like to go. And I hope that we have some time for questions because I didn't have time last week. So I just apologize for that. But last week we talked about some financial literacy based in the Bible, biblical finances. And what does the Bible have to say with it? I read many verses. You can go back and listen to that. How do you teach good money management to your kids? We talked about that. And then we led into, but we didn't go very deep, about with your kids, one of the best things we ever did was start a family business. And so I would just encourage you to do that. And that's what today is going to be about, side hustle. Next week, I'll be sharing my story. And actually, I don't remember what number 4 is, but you'll get the idea. So we'll be talking about finances through the whole thing. You can't talk about business without finances. So if you have questions along the way, let me know. This is how to have a side hustle, a side business, and homeschool. And it can be done, and many of you are doing it. One of the biggest problems is just staying organized. We're not going to talk so much about time management tips, although we can do that at another time. I want to talk more about ideas for side hustles, especially for some of y'all that are either one, you want to do it, or your teens are wanting to do it, or you want to have a side hustle all as a family. If you are listening to either the live or the replay, leave a comment and let me know. Do you have a side hustle? And if you do, what is it? Or if you don't, what are you thinking about? What idea, what area, topic are you interested in? Now, no matter where you're listening to, be sure that you are clicking that little subscribe button wherever it is and be able to leave a 5-star review for us. That would be awesome. I just really appreciate that. And, we don't take that lightly. Your support, obviously it supports me financially, but your support encourages me to keep going. When I see people say, wow, that changed me, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today, I get excited because that is one of the reasons I do this. One of the reasons I do it, I believe, is God's just called me to. And y'all know that I'm a faith-based. My faith is in Jesus Christ. So that is just going to come out no matter what. However, we will, that is one reason. The other reason is family. Faith is first. So I love being able to share and help other moms or homeschoolers be able to improve their lives. And let's face it, finances can be a real difficulty when you're homeschooling, and most of you are living off a single income. What we're going to talk about today is really important. My second reason for having mine isn't a side hustle anymore. It's a full-on hustle. It's a full-time business, but I don't work full-time, to be honest. There are some weeks when I do an event, I work overtime, but many other weeks I don't. Last week, there were a couple of days I didn't start till 10 in the morning. And I'm just blessed to be able to run a business like this. So, but it also gives me the freedom to go and work with the kids and help. And I'm doing that this weekend. Gentry called a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, Mom, Andrew's got to go out of town. And I've got 2 events at the Chick-fil-A that day. Could you come and watch the kids? I'm like, of course I can. So, all right, so let's talk about a side hustle. Got to find all my notes, got them everywhere. All right. And remember, leave comments in the chat. I'm sort of trying to multitask. What is a side hustle? Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Then we're going to talk about some examples, how you get started, and then some success stories. So we've got a lot to cover in a very short amount of time. It is just for me, I think, skills and knowledge that can generate an income. This is sort of the traditional definition beyond the traditional avenues. And a lot of that has become important to us, especially after COVID. Everyone's going in different directions and finding other ways to teach, to homeschool, to educate our kids, but also to make a living. Another way to put this is a flexible way to earn additional income without disrupting your primary responsibilities. Your primary responsibility is to your family. If you're homeschooling, that is to homeschool your children. But there is enough flexibility in homeschooling, and you really should have some extra time. If you were homeschooling from 8 or 9 in the morning till 5 at night, something's got to give, because your kids are probably going crazy. And go back and listen to some of the time management podcasts that we have done in the past. That is way too long. Even when my kids were in high school, they were usually finished by lunch, except for maybe reading the book that they were reading. Seriously. And we started around 8:30 or 9, and we were finished. But they were pretty focused while they were working. Okay. Another thing we want to talk about, side hustle or teens. This is, if you have a teenager, this is a safe time and a safe place for them to try having a business, because they're still at home and the whole responsibility doesn't land on them. They're going to learn budgeting, saving, investing, entrepreneurship, bookkeeping, also, I mean, all the areas of a business. In fact, Steve taught a course, and we still have it on DVD for sale. It is how to start your own business for family and teens. And it's an actual pop the DVD, because yes, we still have those DVDs, so we still ship them. But that is still a course that's available, and it's bricks and mortar and digital. It goes through all of it. How do you price it? How do you decide everything? So that is sort of what a side hustle is. Let's talk about some examples. I remember Hunter wanted to make some money. I want to say he was about 8 or 9. So here's what we told him to do. Make a list of everything that you're interested in doing for business. So he did. And then Steve said, now circle the things that you're able to do, because obviously, I don't know, delivering pizzas when you're 8, you can't do that. If that was on his list, you need a driver's license. Well, one of the things that sort of intersected at the right place was dogs. So then Steve said, make a list of all the different dog things, dog walking, dog bathing, dog babysitting, dog sitting, whatever. There's all sorts of things. That's one thing. And he could just, I think it's really important that right now, if you're getting started, you make a giant list, do not edit it. All right. I'm going to keep talking a little bit. Buy and sell on eBay. That was something that we did forever. Yeah, a lot of people think it's just garage sale, but it supported us for several months when we first moved to Idaho, was buying and selling on eBay. In fact, Hunter wanted to do it so badly, we went garage selling. We bought about 10 games for $30. He sold one of those games. It was that old dating game where you open the door and see who your date is. It was in good condition. He was ahead of his time compared to what they were doing. You used to just slap something on and people would buy it. The night before, he's like, Mom, do you know how much or that morning, do you know how much I'm making? I'm like, no. It was like $83. We had spent $30 on 10 games. He was at a friend's house when it went off. The end of the sale went that night. And for 10 minutes, they just kept hitting the refresh button and watching it go up. My son made $173 off that game. Now, he had to pay me back for the game. He had to pay me for the shipping and the handling and the eBay fees. But that is still probably at least $150 profit for him. So it is still possible to do things. You could do it on Facebook too. My friend, her daughter has 5 kids, I think. So these are 5 of my friend's granddaughters. They buy and sell homemade bread on Facebook. So you could do it on the marketplace of Facebook. That would be a side hustle. And these kids, they're like 8 or 10 years old making money. You could be doing that too as a family or on your own. You could drive for Uber. That's not very easy with kids, but that's an option. You could Airbnb an extra room in your home. I was just having a friend over. We had some people over for lunch yesterday after church, and they have an extra bedroom. They have a 4-bedroom house. They have 1 child, and they don't need this 1 bedroom that actually has an exterior door and a bathroom in it. And so they Airbnb it on the weekends or whenever they can get it. So they're always renting that room out. But my favorite way to get started is a digital one. There are several ways that you can actually even get online without having your own website. You could borrow someone else's website and sell things. On Amazon, you can sell things. You can even sell used things. You could sell used books or videos or whatever. Etsy, if you're a crafting person, get on Etsy and start. That's a good side hustle. eBay, again, good side hustle. And you can sell new things on all of these sites as well. There are a lot, TPT, Teachers Pay Teachers. So didn't even write that one down. You could partner with an existing online business and help solve their biggest problem. Maybe you're a social media guru and you can help do someone's social media, and you can hire yourself out, or your teams might hire themselves out. Maybe they're good in graphics, and so they can do that as well. Another thing, and this is, again, one of my favorite things that I've been doing for a while, is teaching something that I already know. Y'all heard me talk about this, so I'm not going to quit talking about it because I have something very special on Wednesday you need to know about. But you can teach people something you already know. You can get our free guide at familyebiz.com/simple course, familyebiz.com, and it gives 4 models. Maybe people are always asking you questions, like maybe you had your baby at home and people keep asking you questions about how to get a doula, or how did you do that? How'd you choose a good midwife? You could write that down and teach it to someone. And I will pretty much in that area give you that people are going to pay it. I just saw a business. She's the doula coach or something. So, and for those of you that don't, a doula is someone who comes into the delivery room and sort of coaches you along the way. She's not the midwife or the doctor. She could be at a hospital or she could be at home or wherever. Okay, then you get your training in being a doula, and then the lady's like, how do you find your clients? She teaches the doulas how to find clients. That is all she does, very specific. All right, so there are 4 models. Go to familyebiz.com/simple course. The next thing is when you're going digitally, you or your teenager or your family, the cool thing is you're going to learn different skills. You may already have some of those skills, like you may already have some marketing background. One of my Raising Leaders moms that was my student had a marketing degree, and we talked about marketing after she took my course. So you never know. Maybe you have some graphic design knowledge. Maybe your kids do. Maybe your kids are all into coding and they could help you code a website. Maybe you'll learn about content creation. There's a lot of things that your kids could learn and put on a transcript from this as well. If you create a course, you could even create a course. Hunter actually created a course how to sell marshmallow guns. And because he had done that his whole high school years, he was making money selling marshmallow guns out of PVC pipe. And so he has a course on that. Actually, I need to pull that thing out and maybe sell that for him. Okay, so those are some ideas for a side hustle. Now, here we go to the brainstorm. How do we get started? Brainstorm all your ideas. Just make a list. You can either do this individually with your teenager, as a family. Take about a week. Don't edit, don't filter, just anything that comes to your mind. You just never know. Then you want to find your sweet spot. I talked more in detail about this last week in my Family eBiz class. So you can go and get it. And I actually have a link that I will put up for you to be able to go get it. It is on YouTube or on Facebook. So let's talk about this. Your sweet spot is 4 things. This comes from my mentor, Amy Porterfield. Your skills and knowledge, whatever those are. Who is your audience? What is their problem you're going to solve? What is their pain point? What is their struggle? You've got to be solving a problem so that you can help them solve the problem to teach them how to solve the problem. It all goes back to that. What keeps them up at night? That might be a good question to ask yourself. What is your skill and knowledge? Let's just take the doula thing. Or, people are like, how do you choose a midwife or a doula? And whether you agree with this, it doesn't matter. It's just an example. So write down, have that knowledge. Well, what's their pain point? Well, why would they want to know? Because they're scared. They don't know how to choose a good doula or a good midwife or even a good doctor to deliver. I know both my daughters had to go through that. All right. Skills, what's their audience problem? Number 3, what's the profit potential? Will they spend money? If they're not going to spend money, don't do it. And then you've got to sort of just figure out whether that's a good profit potential or not. I went more into detail. I'm not going to go into that now. And then what's exciting to you? That was exciting to you and you love talking to people about this, you've got all four of them. And that's a great place. Anyway, last week's masterclass actually went into a lot more detail. There's also another freebie. Go to familyebiz.com/AI course. And Amy will talk to you step by step how to get that sweet spot. I talked about it on video and audio, but you can also go if you'd rather get a PDF. And then she'll talk about how you go from that sweet spot to actually coming up with your course idea. So that's really cool. So if you've got some ideas, go look at that, whether you watch the video or the course, whatever. The next thing you need to do is see, is there any competition? Because competition is good. If there is no competition, you don't want to be the pioneer, especially just starting out. Maybe if you've already done some online courses, you might go into an area, but right now you need to go where there is some competition. But the question is, how will you be different? So let me give you my example, and then I'm going to give you a couple stories to help you. So me and my course, I hate that. My course, Raising Leaders. How was I going to be different? There are other leadership courses. There are other how-to homeschool courses. Well, there are other how-to homeschool courses, but there aren't very many homeschool courses on specific intention of raising your kids to lead for Jesus Christ, to have some sort of reason for homeschooling besides just educating your kid. And I gave my perspective, which was a Christian perspective, and there's really little to nothing out there about that. There's stuff on leadership and homeschooling, but tying it all together from a Christian perspective, there isn't much out there. Plus, it includes my personal story where you and I may relate. If not, you'll go on to someone else. So you need to figure out, how will you be unique to solving this problem? And then if all of this comes together, you got a great course idea. So let me share a couple stories. You may be going, yeah, but I homeschool. I am not so sure this is going to work. Let me tell you about Nicole, and you can listen more to her story. And I'm going to give you a link to the podcast that shares her story. But Nicole was a homeschool mom. She's really put her, she didn't do any kind of business. Her kids were little. I'm hearing an alarm. Her kids were young, but she wanted to sort of dip her toe back into having a side hustle. And since they had been family gardening for years, she decided to start a gardening business. She would come to your home and help you actually get into the dirt and help you build a garden. And her goal was 100 families in Houston. And then it was too much. She's trying to, it was way too much. So she decides she's going to create a course about gardening. And I'm thinking, seriously? Could you do that? That's like hands-on. You know what this lady did in 1 year? I mean, this is shocking. And I don't normally do these big numbers. In 1 year, she had $1 million in revenue. I'm a homeschool mom. I was shocked. So you can listen more about it. I'll leave you the link to the podcast. And I'm hoping to get her specific interview too. And I'll get a link for that one as well. So Jeannie is in the faith-based world. And you may think, no one's going to really buy a course. You know what? She became successful creating a course, and she didn't think anyone would buy it because people are cheap and they want everything free. Does that sound like faith-based and homeschooling? Yes, but they will buy it. I will tell you the other thing, a lot of my homeschool blogging students, they're like, how do you sell something for $200? I'm like, there is a process, and I follow a proven plan. I used to only sell a bundle of stuff that didn't make any sense for $37 or $47, and no one saw any change in their life. And then I followed a proven plan. I followed my mentor, Amy Porterfield, and I'll tell my story next week. And now I sell my course for $197. Do I make $1 million a year? No. Do I make a nice sum? Yes. And that is just a great extra supplemental income for me. So Nicole in the gardening world, Jeannie in the faith-based world, me in the homeschool world. If you want to hear more stories, you can go to familyebiz.com/myths plural, Myths, M-Y-T-H-S, course, Myths course. And that's got a whole bunch of different stories. And then I'll put one last link that you can just read the different stories. That one is a podcast, so you can listen. And that's familyebiz.com/stories course. Now, Karen, thank you for being here. Sort of closing up right now I wanted to make sure we had some time for Q&A. I will tell you some of the things that we just covered here are the side hustle as an extra income. It can be you and your teen or the whole family. We covered some different examples. How do we get started with that brainstorming process? And what is the sweet spot? And then how do we decide as far as competition? Oh, there we go. I sort of lost myself. And then I shared some stories. I do want to tell you that this Wednesday, I have 2 special things that are opening up. And this only happens once a year. Well, the interview doesn't, but this only happens once a year. Amy, my mentor, is opening up a boot camp. She'll open up the card on Wednesday. It doesn't start for another week or 2, I'm not sure, but you'll have an opportunity to sign up and get her special bonus. Number 2, I believe this is the best and least expensive way to find out if a digital course is for you. Starting a digital side hustle. And she's going to take you step by step. I think there's 5 days of training. They're like at 1 hour each day. Plus there's a private Facebook group. It's awesome. I went through it and learned. I just refreshed myself last year. So if you decide to join us, I will send some information out on Wednesday. I'm going to hold your hand as we go through it, because I will have a private Facebook group just for the people that are with me. And we will talk every single day on Facebook about what you are learning and how we can really see if this is what you should pursue or not. So that's a private Facebook pop-up. And along with that, I can't believe I'm doing this. I couldn't decide. I'm going to offer anyone that goes to the boot camp and uses my link, I'm going to give you my Create a Side Hustle course. I sell for $97 in my store, but I just gave you the tip of the iceberg on a side hustle. This has 12 steps that will take you step by step. You can do it in a weekend. You can do it while you're in the boot camp. You can do it later, but anyway, it's got some good ideas. So that's all on Wednesday, August 30th. You'll get an email from me. The other thing is I got to interview Amy Porterfield, and y'all probably don't know her because you're in the homeschool world. She is a big guru. And I mean, I think I looked her up one time a year ago. She's worth like 30 million, but she is so down to earth. And there are 2 reasons I follow her. Number 1, she teaches what she knows and learns. She doesn't just teach something and go try it out. She will try it out. She will test it out, find out what works and doesn't work, and then she will teach it and share it with you. That I appreciate. A lot of people are just teaching what they hear and they haven't really tried it out. That's one thing I do. I teach things in our family eBiz, but only when they work in our homeschool business, because I'm not going to just teach something in family eBiz. I'm going to teach something that actually works with real life people in something outside of making money. And so that is something I really appreciate. The other thing is her motto and my motto is serve before you sell. We want to always serve our audience. And I hope that here in the homeschool group, you always feel like I am here to serve you and to help you. And so that is my motto. And yes, I'm going to sell some things. And if that offends you, I'm sorry, but I believe I'm doing a disservice to people that are really interested in what I'm teaching, but I don't have time to go forever for free, and they want help. And that's what my leadership is all about. These moms are like, no, I need more help than what you're going to give me with the free resources. And so they're willing to pay for that as well. So Wednesday, August 30th, it'll be 1 email, but look for that email because it's called Course Confident Bootcamp. And so you'll get information on that and the link to Amy's interview. Her interview is something like the biggest mistake course creators make and how to avoid them. It was an honor for me to interview her, and she will also talk at the end a little bit about the boot camp. So, but the first 20 to 25 minutes of the interview, pure content. All right. 5 mistakes that you don't want to make. And I've made them. She's made them. So, hey, any questions before I close? I know a few people got on here late. So I do want to answer any questions if we have any. We'll be putting the replay up in the podcast, and we will be putting it in YouTube as well. It's already here in Facebook. I appreciate y'all's time. If you do have any comments or questions, or you're listening to this later, tell me, do you already have a side hustle? And Kara, if you already have a side hustle, leave a comment here. Or what is it? And if you don't, what are you thinking about? I would love to be able to chat with you and talk about that. And so let's see how I could journey with you. I do not want to present something to you that I'm not going to walk with you along. I believe in this. It's worked for me. It's worked for, oh my gosh, Nicole, the homeschool mom, paid $1 million first year. That's not me. And then Jeannie, the faith-based world. I don't remember how much. I'll have to look that up and leave a comment and let y'all know how much money she made in the faith-based world. So, and there's lots of other stories. Go listen to the podcast, familyebiz.com/myths course. Hey, thanks so much for spending time with me. I am Carrie Beck, Homeschool Coffee Break, where we help you stop the overwhelm so that you can take a break, a homeschool coffee break. We'll talk to you next time.